it's interesting because they would say things like, oh, you're Asian, but you're like cool Asian, not like what they would normally consider weird, I guess. And I think that had a lot to do with me deciding to go through Rush or recruitment, because growing up, like, that's like American culture and like white culture is what was normal and what I strived to be, just because that's all I knew.
An Asian American in Greek life today is not uncommon, especially on Northwestern campus. Whether it be a Pan-Hellenic sorority, interfraternity council fraternity, or Asian interest fraternity or sorority, Asian Americans are present in all aspects of the sphere. However, our desire to integrate into American culture has been a difficult one as we try to expand our presence in these organizations.
So I joined Greek life, I think in a very non-traditional way. I grew up in New York City. I went to a high school that was like 70% Asian, almost, and just because of that, a lot of my friends were Asian. And I think it's a very common thing that all Asian Americans think about is like the distribution of how many Asian friends you have as opposed to non-Asian friends. So in high school, I had a lot of Asian friends, and that was something that I was aware of, and I guess something that I wanted to not fix. Not that it was a problem, but just kind of branch out more, I guess. I didn't want to be that kid who went to college and only hung out with Asian people, which I had seen before,
Being Greek for many Asian Americans has allowed them to step into a niche that was more American than Asian. It gives them the balance from being too Asian or being too American, as many join both a fraternity or sorority and an Asian interest club.
If you didn't know anything about me and you just saw that I was in a fraternity, then I think that there's like a natural association to be made that like I don't know Chinese, that like I'm whitewashed, I'm not connected to like Chinese culture, I don't eat like Chinese food, but that's not the reality. And like I think that when it comes to like Asians who are in exclusively or like Asian interest fraternities, like you automatically associate them with being very Asian and like very ethnically whatever, like they still hold a lot of like ethnic traditions, even though that's also not true.
So I think also one thing to note is that people in sororities that have a large white population, so many, like very few Asian girls, those girls tend to kind of disaffiliate with the Asian community. I can, just like thinking off the top of my head, there's people I know who are in the Greek system, in the normal Greek system, and they definitely aren't like a factor in the Asian community. And not only aren't they aren't a factor because just because they're not friends with the people, but I think they actively try to like not associate with a lot of the Asian community. So yeah, I think it's just interesting that some girls kind of just turn their back from their heritage in a way.
There are unspoken racial quotas that most Greek organizations try to fulfill. In top-tier Greek organizations, you can find maybe 1 or 2 Asian Americans in each pledge class. In lower-tier chapters, the numbers are slightly higher.
Like your Rush experience is different if you're Asian American than if you are not. And I guess specifically I'm talking about white, because I think in Northwestern, Greek life is very, very white. Very like upper middle class white. But that's Northwestern in general, I guess. Or the face of Northwestern. But the thing that I think about a lot is that, if you take a look at the quote-unquote top frats, not even just frats, sororities, there's very little Asian representation in those groups.
I think as an Asian American trying to join Greek life, I think that you really have to show some kind of outstanding quality, or you have to be better at pretty much everything than like if you were just another white kid.
It's kind of verbalized to me most in my roommate's experience. She was trying to verbalize how she was just determining between the two, and she mentioned the term that she wanted to go to one particular one because she would be the token Asian girl in there if she did.
compared to as if she went to the other one, she would just be one of their other Asians.
Being Asian American requires a skill that balances being both American and Asian. We are criticized today if we are too American or too Asian, but this is especially difficult to uphold because that middle ground is almost non-existent. In Greek life especially, this is highlighted throughout recruitment and general membership because the mostly white community does not understand the internal struggle that we have to go through.